and they have something like this, it makes me wonder about like microtransactions. Look at that AI, look at that AI, look at this AI. That guy doesn't see him. It's just a bunch of like guys in like latex outfits doing somersaults, hitting enemies over and over again. I mean, like, don't fall in love with the cutscenes, right? When you see the cutscenes of like Bruce Wayne, you know, sending that final message to his guys, I bet you feel something. But whatever you feel about the cutscene has nothing to do with the gameplay. Gameplay is king. If your gameplay is ass, it's ass. In all intents and purposes, I want the game to be good. But do I think it's good? Not really. Think about it, right? Like, the reason why I think the game is not going to be that good is because look at all the characters that they have playable. They have Robin, they have like Nightwing, they have like Batgirl, Batwoman. Like, how many characters do they have to program? Like, they have to program a lot of fight systems for a lot of like, different characters. Because if they don't program like different fight systems and everyone have the same moves, there's no point in having so many characters. So think about it. If they're gonna program like so many moves for so many characters, how are they gonna balance all the enemies for all those characters, right? Whenever a game gives you more than one character to play, that means either the game balancing is incredibly like exquisite, it's very, very, very well done, or it's very, very, very baby shit. So for example, right, what is a good game that has like a lot of characters, but like the balancing of the game is very well done? Diablo. Look at Diablo, for example, right? You have like the warrior, you have a necromancer, you have like all kinds of characters, but the enemies are still challenging no matter like whatever you pick. So how are they going to make like a game with so many characters and keep each character fun to play with and also like balance the enemies to fight against them? So if you look at the trailer very carefully and you look at the way the AI fights the characters, they look like just basically like crash dummies. You can just like beat them up. There's no depth to it. And maybe that's kind of your thing. Maybe you just like to beat up like guys like that. But you know, back in the day when I used to be younger a little bit, I used to love games like that because it was fun. It was easy to play with. As I got older and I play a lot of games like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, you know, in this case like Tsushima, Witcher 3, I realized that sometimes quality is better than quantity. Cold says, look bro, I grew up in the 80s. All game developers grew up in arcades like me. I've seen game progress in years from quarters to home, so I just game just to have fun. It's all fantasy anyway you look at it. Yeah, but there's a difference between quality and quantity. I mean, you said like you grew up with a lot of games since the 80s, right? Tell me why, in your words, you think the game is good. Because the only thing that you have brought up is the name of the studio. You have not said anything about the game that really impresses you. What, you want to talk about the grappling stuff that she does or the combat she does in the game? It doesn't really impress me. The AI is like not that good. Look at a game like Ghost of Tsushima. Once you start getting used to like really good games like these and you go play like Rocksteady games, it's not the same. Like, I guess the ultimate like immersion factor you get to feel about those games is you get to feel like you're Batman, right? Or you're Robin, or you get to become like Nightwing. That's the illusion. But why are they putting all those characters in the game when they can just focus on one guy? Like, focus on just a Nightwing, or maybe just focus on a Robin or a Red Hood. Like, just focus on one guy. The fact that they put so many guys in there and the fact that you see the AIs fight like shit, you know it's not going to be a very deep game. It's going to be a game where you just do this. You can literally play the game like that. And like, that's not really a game for me. It's like, I'm not that kind of player. Like, when I play a game, I turn my brain off. Games like that are like Destiny, Division. Creator says it's for the best Diablo didn't go mobile. It wouldn't translate well. It's like trying to play out World of Warcraft on phone. It's okay. So the problem with Diablo mobile is like, it's not even out, right? They did that big announcement in BlizzCon and like, what happened? They're doing it because they're trying to like get more money from the mobile market. The game is not even out. So they didn't even have to announce it. You know what I'm saying? But I think like the problem with like the announcement and shit is like also the problem with like BlizzCon in general. Like, when people go to BlizzCon, they want to hear announcements, right? But what happens if there are no announcements? You know, so like Blizzard has to pull something out of their ass. Even if it's like something they're never going to release for another 3 to 4 years, they have to talk about it because, you know, hype. I think a lot of times when it comes to like hype definitely kills like good games, in my opinion, man. Especially with DC. Like, look at what DC is doing with their franchise. Let's not even talk about the games, right? Let's talk about the direction of what they're doing with their whole franchise. this. Look at what they did with the movie Suicide Squad. And now they're gonna make a video game from it. The Suicide Squad game has been in development for a while. Let's get it out of the way, right? Games take a while to create. When did they start making Suicide Squad the game? When the movie was like coming out. So when the movie was coming out, they expected the movie to be good. So they released a game in conjunction with that. You know, they decided to like put money and development time into Suicide Squad. But look at how Suicide Squad turned out. Okay, so check this out. All gameplay footage you're about to see was captured from a pre-alpha game build. Alright, so maybe we can just acknowledge that this isn't a complete game. Okay, so the gameplay loop about this thing, about her like riding the Batmobile is like, it's basically getting you from point A to point B while also like avoiding obstacles. But it's kind of like weird because like the way that the city is presented to you is like an open world.
All units at Elliott Center. Air support inbound.
Alright, so all of that is scripted. Obviously, when you see something cool like this, you see her jumping out of the bike and she jumps in the air and she lands on the roof. That is all scripted. The person playing this game knows how to like perform well to make this look good. But think about the gameplay loop of the bike. Like if you look at a game that has vehicles in it, like think about like Grand Theft Auto or Watch Dogs or whatever. Like any game that has vehicles in it. What is the vehicle gameplay loop, right? Why are the roads so big? So you're getting from point A to point B. But what is the gameplay loop to a game like this? This game already looks very good than the Avengers game. It's like saying like shit looks better than vomit. I'm just saying that you're comparing something that's already really bad. Okay, look at like all the grapple points that you can grapple in this game, right? I don't even know why that's necessary. Okay, look at the left corner. You see this? You see where my mouse is like indicating? You see this thing? This thing is like 6,660. So this is like already concerning. This is something to do with like crafting, I think, in the game. I think like when they create a game like this, that's like co-op, single player, all together, all the works, and they have something like this, it makes me wonder about like microtransactions. Because sometimes they create a game that's only frustrating enough for you to like power through, and then once you can't anymore, you gotta buy a DLC. Okay, that is not necessary. The grappling is totally not necessary because like the stealth is non-existent. You don't have to stealth in this game. You see, all of that is just flash. When you see a character do all that shit, it's just to look cool. She's not using even the stealth. She grapples down and guess what she does? She's in the middle of the storm. She's fighting everyone. Look at how the guys fight. Look at that AI, look at that AI, look at this AI. What does he do?
And developed a few new ones of her own.
While she's beating up his friend, he doesn't even attack her. Okay, that guy has melee. That is so boring. Look at all the bats. That is all smoke and mirrors. Take away all the graphics, right? Just look at the combat loop. You're fighting a guy with a little bit of health bar over his head, right? This is not that different from a game that is trying to be like Diablo. You're fighting mobs and you're not actually like using any abilities. You're just mashing button. Right? Alright, so this guy's going in for the stealth gameplay, right? That guy doesn't see him. This guy barely saw her like walk across. And there isn't a need for that. The reason why you add stealth elements to gameplay is because stealth helps you against overwhelming odds. Let's say you're fighting against like a huge army that like fighting ordinarily would be such a problem. You need to use stealth to get through that area so that you can complete the mission like successfully. But look at these guys, right? They have like the number 10 over their head. Look at the guys that they were fighting earlier. The guys fighting over here also have the number 10 over their head. The guys that they fought over here are not that different from the guys that they're taking out stealth. Look at that. These are the same guys. You're just fighting the same guys. Why was there a need to do stealth here when you can easily beat them up like earlier? So a lot of times when they show you gameplay like this in a trailer, they are trying to show you variety, but there isn't really a need for the variety. The enemies aren't that different, right? They're all like regular grunts. They're not like enemies like wearing armor, or they're not like bigger, or they're different, or don't let them catch you because these guys, they mean business. We can't fight them. Like fighting them straight on will be suicide. There's no stuff like that. that. It's more like, hey, same guys, but you could do stealth. Like, it's a way less fun version of combat, but like, hey man, look at that guy. Look at this AI. I've never seen AI on this level that is like so ridiculous, man. You will see a guy coming from the right-hand corner and he's like running like this. And he's not even gonna attack you. Look at that. She beats up this guy and this guy's running. And... okay, look at their health bars. The health bars are just there to let you know how many times you gotta hit your enemy before they go down. So this is no different from playing League of Legends and you're like attacking minions. Minions don't really do anything. They're just there for you to do something. At no point in time when you see her do that combos, did they ever counter her? Did they ever block and do something back? They are just like there for you to beat them up. So you can play this game and clear mobs and rooms with your friends. This is the gameplay loop. The gameplay loop is basically get from point A to point B with the Batmobile. There isn't really a deep system within their transportation like gameplay loop. And I know that because like try play a game like Grand Theft Auto. Like even their car systems have a gameplay loop that you can like hijack other people's cars. You have to break into people's cars. You can modify your car. Maybe the Batmobile will be modifiable. But what's the gameplay loop about it? Getting from point A to point B, avoiding obstacles around the way. When you reach your location, you can grapple to places, but there's no real reason to do that because you can just beat them up. So the stealth element is like really like not there. I don't see it. Just beat up some guys. You look at their health bars. As you're attacking them, they won't do anything. They won't do anything. This is like beyond very easy mode, man. Look at that. You get to go through like very boring like winding sequences of like narrow corridors all the way till the boss. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Look at the 3D model of Batgirl or Batwoman or whatever. It's not even that high polygon. And the reason why they have to do that is because the emphasis of a lot of their 3D modeling is into the environments. They have to shove as many shit into the room as possible. So the characters are not even that detailed. And the reason also that it looks this way is because it's possible that this game might be available on more than one platform. So they have to make the game accessible for as many systems as possible, even PC. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is available on Nintendo Switch. And you're fighting a boss, right? You're fighting like Mr. Freeze. But look at what this really is. Look at all the number counters when you're like doing a damage to the person, right? This is another game that is like trying to replicate like Diablo or like a Destiny. So I can guarantee you that they're not only just going to make this like co-op and single player. This is going to be a live service. This game is going to be a live service. So when a game is like a live service, they want players to be very invested in the world so that they can continually buy more DLC. I would love to love this game. Like if this game was great, I would have loved to love it. Cold says something tells me you got a lot of time on your hands. I'm just being critical. Nothing that you have said so far is critical. All you have spouted to me was a bunch of emotional bullshit. That means like you're a shitty ass gamer with no taste, Cole. And you gotta get your head out of your ass. Cause real shit though, it doesn't seem like you know a lot about games. And you know, just continue buying games like these so that they can make more shitty ass games like this. Trust me, keep buying it. But if you're asking me for my opinion, you're gonna talk about the game and you're not expect me to shit on it or at least be honest about it. I don't even know what you're doing here, man. If that's the gameplay loop that you prescribe, going room by room, clearing mobs with your friend, mindlessly like, that's you. That's you. You're not a very intelligent person. That's you. How the fuck are you an 80s gamer if you like games like that? Those games are like for babies, man. Like, I don't like Fortnite, but even Fortnite has more depth than that game. There's building in Fortnite. There's like so many other things in Fortnite. And I don't even like Fortnite. You gonna tell me that game is good? Fuck out of here, man. It's a pre-alpha build, so they don't turn off combat just to show you more of what the character can do in a short period of time. Not trying to be a dick, but just genuinely curious. It seems like they're not even trying to fight her. Yes, I agree it's a pre-alpha build. I'm pretty sure that you also saw Black Myth Wukong, the trailer. That game was in pre-alpha. That had way more stuff. You can turn into like a cicada. You can turn into different characters. You have different weapons. There are mini bosses. There are big bosses. They have a deep combat system. That was also a pre-alpha trailer. Pre-alpha shouldn't be an excuse of showing shit to people, in my opinion. And I think what I saw was shit. I would like to be proven wrong. If that game comes out, it sells like gangbusters. If like everybody loves it, I will say I'm wrong. I will even go out there and I will buy the game. You know what I'm saying? But from my like knowledge of games and what I've seen so far, it's shit. And people defending it don't even play games that much. It's pre-alpha. All right, cool. But like the gameplay loop is basically you like wailing on guys over and over and over again until their health goes down. And to your point, they don't even fight back. So what was the stealth element for? Where they choke out the guy that they could essentially like beat up in 3 seconds. It's boring. If a gameplay loop is like really boring, boring. I can't pull myself to finish it, right? That's why like I am critical about Ghost of Tsushima. Like the more I play this game, the more enemies I find out. Oh my god, I didn't know Straw Hats were like a bunch of enemies. I didn't know like the Mongols have another elite unit that wears orange. They fight different. They can light their swords on fire. They have a different attack pattern. They have more health. I love this game so much. The gameplay loop for this is amazing. Burrito says Wukong will be a good game. The way they show it off, actual fights with enemies transforming. If the actual game releases like the trailer, it will be a good game. Because what they show in the trailer is the gameplay loop, right? The reason why people are so hyped for Wukong is because whatever you see in that like 14 minutes trailer, it's gonna be the same gameplay loop that you're gonna like play over and over and over again all the way to the end of the game. That's why it's exciting, because whatever they show you is a gameplay loop that you wouldn't mind like doing over and over again. A game has to make 30 seconds very exciting to play with and allow you to like do it for hours. But when you look at like Gotham Knights and you see that gameplay loop, how the fuck are you excited for it? Even if I'm playing with a buddy, like I play co-op games on stream with Burrito, I don't feel excited for that shit. Nightaf says, I'm optimistic since Arkham games have a good track record. I've enjoyed all of them. You're basing off your purchase from a studio that has given you things that you like. And I think that's a mistake, because a lot of studios that we love as kids are not the same studio that we see nowadays. Like Bethesda, Blizzard, Activision, EA. Just because they release a game that you enjoyed years ago, and it is years ago, it takes like 3 to 4 years to create one Batman game. The people that are working on the new game are not necessarily the same people that worked on the old game. The name of the studio is the same, but the chefs in the kitchen are different. That's why The Last of Us 2 is not the same as The Last of Us 1, because Bruce Straley isn't even on the project. The only person on the project is Neil Druckmann. Like even the head writer for Uncharted left Naughty Dog. 70% of like the stuff that used to work at Naughty Dog left after Uncharted 4. So the people that are making the game under the umbrella of Naughty Dog are not the same Naughty Dog that created the older games. But as a customer, if you don't educate yourself with all these type of things, you kind of assume the game is going to be good because the game is made within the umbrella of the studio. But it's not the umbrella that makes the games. It's the people within the umbrella that makes the games. So when you're optimistic that this game will be good because they make the Arkham games, it's assuming that the studio is good. It's not always good. People leave the company. People get bought over by investors, a la Blizzard, Activision. People cash out sometimes, like Bethesda and Fallout 76. What we are left with to be a judge of is trailers and gameplay. And if you're not objective just from that aspect and you're just going to pile on and say like, hey, let me talk about studio and why studio is like way more important, you probably are going to be a sucker. You're going to buy the game, it's going to suck, and they made their money. Nightaf says, this is the reason I got Ghosto, because Infamous was the bomb. Sucker Punch is more reliable than Rocksteady though, to be fair. That's because they haven't fuck up. They make only a few games, right? And the few games that they do make are good. I wasn't sure that this game was going to be that great, right? I bought it really late on. Like I didn't watch any of the trailers because I also have that assumption that Sucker Punch is a really good company. When a game company is really on that level, I don't watch trailers, because when I play their games, I want to approach it from a very fresh perspective. So when I heard that this game is a masterpiece, it's sold like gangbusters, you can't find a single copy in Japan, that's how good it is, I went in on it, and I'm pleasantly surprised by it. But I don't think that Arkham games are going to be good, man. Are you guys seriously excited for Arkham Knights? Oh, sorry, Gotham Knights, my bad. Like, how are you excited for Gotham Knights? It's just a bunch of like guys in like latex outfits doing somersaults, hitting enemies over and over again. There's no combat loop, there's no parry system, there's no stance changer, there's no defense, there is no like, there's melee and then I can choose to use like bow and arrow or something like that. There's no combat loop. The only combat loop is going from room to room clearing mobs with your friends, and by the end you fight a big boss and then you're like, yay. That's like Destiny. It's boring.